Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, we get to take a full in-depth view of the all-new Hummer EV Edition 1. This is the crew cab model. Huge shout out to Randy Marion Buick GMC for providing this fully electric truck for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. Now the Hummer only comes in one color so far. It's called Interstellar White, and we'll go over the MSRP once we get this truck out on the road to see all the features and how it drives, and if it can justify that MSRP. So we'll start off with what powers this fully electric truck. This has 3 electric motors along with a 212.7 kilowatt Ultium battery pack. It's paired to a single speed transmission. Now this pumps out 1,000 horsepower and 1,200 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through all 4 wheels. This weighs in right around 9,600 pounds. However, it will do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, 0 to 100 in 8.8 seconds, with a top speed of 106 miles an hour. It also has a total range of 329 miles. You can also gain 100 miles in 10 minutes by using a 350 kilowatt fast charger. And this also has a wheelbase of 135.6 inches. Its overall length is 216.8. It has a width of 86.7, a height of 79.1. Its ground clearance can measure up to 16 inches. It also has an approach angle of 44.3 degrees, a breakover angle of 25.4 degrees. It can ford through 28 inches of water, and it also has a departure angle of 33.7 degrees. Now, as we work our way to the exterior for this all-new Hummer, right off the bat, you can see Hummer spelled out right in between the LED headlights. It's a very cool illuminating area where the turn signals also have the sequential design to them, and the turn signals also act as the charging signals when you have this hooked up. So you will see them light up blue to indicate the level of the charge, which I think is a really neat design. But I love how cool it is to see those individual areas basically for each leather right in the upper section there. And you can tell this is a wide vehicle just from looking at the grille and the entire front end. Now there's also some cutouts in there too, just to provide cooling to some of the components that are located up front. This has a camera system, which is very beneficial, especially for the size. All the parking sensors too. There's LED fog lights in the lower section of the bumper there, where you can see most of that front tire, giving it that really good approach angle. There's 2 tow hooks, along with all of this brush trim right in the middle to give it a good contrast against that gloss black. Now you can see the hood too is massive. There's bulges on both sides, some more black trim, and this even has the ditch lights, factory installed option on each side. There are buttons on the inside, of course, to control that. And then there's the lights up on the top. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a massive set of 35-inch wheels, wrapping an 18-inch tire with the two-tone design. You can see the HEV logo as well. And then the gloss black makes its way to those fender flares there. This also has the rock sliders / side steps. I would say this is more of a side step than a rock slider, but it does have that area underneath it where you could use those if you're going off the pavement to keep the underside better protected. Now you'll notice too, more of that gloss black is in the lower side skirt there, blending in those side steps very nicely. There's the HEV logo, as well as the body colored side mirrors. There's also a camera located at the base of them as well. So for the 3D camera system, which is nice to have. And then the entire roof panels do come off, and all 4 panels are individual. They're also transparent, as you'll see soon, but when you take them off, you can actually store them in the front area. Since there is no engine up front, you can double tap this button on the key fob, or you can actually use a hidden button as well, and this will automatically open up, providing you with a good amount of storage along with the bags to put the roof panels in. So if you want to take them with you for the day, you can easily store them up front. They are numbered, so just depending on which panel, of course, so they can fit properly. Now, if you have these covers out, you actually have a lot of space up front. I think that is a pretty cool option to see, especially for this vehicle. Being a pickup truck, you have the exposed bed, but then you also have a covered area to place items. Now you can also use the hidden button that's just above the forward-facing camera. If I push and hold on that, it will close. You can use that button to open it. You also have the one on the key fob, and then there's also one located on the interior. So pretty awesome use of space. Now for the rest of this exterior, you can see the two-tone design. So the upper half is all gloss black along with white, and then obviously the gloss black in the lower section. And then this model has the short bed, so it's just around 5 feet. And for the rear, you can see Hummer EV along with the backup camera. This has LED taillights. I think it's a neat design to see the gloss black surrounding them. Heavy duty tow hooks in the rear as well. And it can even tow right around 7,500 pounds. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space now, you'll notice that the tailgate isn't anything new. This is the multiflex tailgate. Now I can use the button on the key fob to open up the first section here. And you'll notice that this has the spray-in bed liner to keep that bed well protected. This also has a massive spare tire mounted in the bed, so you can have that with you at all times. There's a small bin over on that left side where you could store some other items if you needed to. And it's also practical as well, having this power outlet. There's tie-down hooks so you can put in any items that you need to. And you'll notice over on this driver's side, there is a handle. You can use that handle along with the step in the multi-flex tailgate. So by pushing on one of these black buttons on the left side, you will see that area drop. From there, I can further push this down, and now that is the step to easily enter and exit the bed of this truck. So if you're using this as a work truck or you need to get into the bed and you don't want to constantly jump up and down, this makes it so much more convenient. You can easily close that portion, and then with two hands you can close it up the rest of the way and then close it into place. These are the two buttons that I was using. If I push this one on the left side, now we can just lower the upper section. So you now have a built-in bed extender basically, where you can lift up this same step, and now you have that as a backing. So you get another foot, maybe foot and a half or so. If you have some longer items, you can still have the tailgate up and still have that down. Makes it very versatile. I love the design for that tailgate system. You'll notice that the reverse light is just underneath that too with some gloss black. So it hides those buttons and it hides that light to give it more of a clean look, so you see Hummer EV standing out instead. So now as we work our way to the interior now, you can actually lock and unlock this from all four doors, which I really like to see. And then for the interior, that white is being brought in with the white leather. There's also some gold accents for the lower section. It's on the grab handle as well. This has the Bose audio sound system with a pretty cool pattern for that speaker and a little bit of storage in the door. And now as we work our way to the interior, this gets the same two-tone design with the white and the black leather. There's also storage bins behind the seats. So just like pretty much every other GMC vehicle, you have a little bit of storage behind both back seats there. And then with the side step, there's also a grab handle. I can jump up into the back where I have plenty of room at 5'10". Right in the middle are all of the climate adjustments. There's also the heated seats, different modes, the air vents, USB, USB-C, and a little bit of storage space in the lower section. And as far as headroom goes, I have around 2 or 3 inches above my head, but check out this view with the transparent roof. Pretty cool to see that for your backseat passengers and as well as your front seat passengers. It definitely provides a lot of light, and the fact that you can take them off is pretty cool as well. Right in the middle, we have the armrest along with 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage in the middle. And then for this back glass, you can actually raise and lower this. So if you want it all the way down, you can do that just to get a little bit more breeze going, especially if you have the top off. And then of course, raise it back up when you are ready to go. Now, as far as visibility goes, pickup trucks really don't have any. It is so open. For the size of this truck, you have a lot of visibility, which is awesome to see. Now, as far as underneath the seats, you do get some extra storage. If I lift this up, you can currently see there are some items right here at the moment, but it's a nice flat surface going all the way to the passenger side. I love that about these trucks because it makes it very usable if you need to put in some bigger items and you don't need them in the bed space. Now, as we work our way to the driver's seat now, you'll see the door panel has that same two-tone design. There's all the window controls. The side mirrors are power adjusting. This has the memory seating adjustments, lock and unlock. Even Hummer EV is stamped in the back section. And then a much larger speaker cover, a little bit more storage down below. And then taking a look at the leather seats up front, the Hummer EV badge is right in the middle. I'm really digging this brushed gold trim. Gives it a cool accent against all of this white. Now, it's just as easy to enter these front seats. We have the grab handle up top there. And then looking at the steering wheel, it's covered in solid black leather. This also has a light strip there, which I'll show later. You can see that graphic come to life. Let's fire up this Hummer EV. With my foot on the brake, that button is over on this right side. And we can bring up the electronics here. You'll see that light on the steering wheel light up as well. And you'll notice on the massive digital gauge cluster, currently there's a lot of information being shown. There's a drift angle, your G-force meter. You can look at the range along with the power of the battery down below. And there's also kilowatts on the top. Over on that right side, you can go through a lot more info using these buttons over on the right side of the steering wheel. So currently it's showing the Apple CarPlay. I can scroll over to the compass, even pull up phone when that is paired. There's different layouts that you can go into as well. So if I click on this, currently it's in the sport. So if I go up to clean, you will see the entire gauge cluster change. Pretty cool to see these graphics. We can go to the off-road one. So if you do take your Hummer EV off-road, now you have a few different other gauges that you can monitor, which is pretty awesome to have. There's a digital one too. So this just brings it up in obviously a digital where you have power on that left side. Over on the right side looks like another power meter there. And then the last one is lunar. So it's pretty cool to have it. It's a very quick system. It goes through these modes pretty quick. And then if we scroll over again, you can look at TPMS, go through the driver assistance. There's even the smaller icons for the off-road settings like pitch and roll. You have energy usage to go through all that information. Even the suspension travel, like I mentioned earlier, this has around 16 inches of ground clearance. So you definitely have a lot of travel for that suspension. And this even still retains GMC's volume and tuning dials that are on the back side of the steering wheel. Also on this left side, however, there's a paddle. This is for the regenerative braking. So you can pull on that. It will slow down the vehicle and also charge it at the same time, which is pretty cool to see. There's all the cruise control, adaptive cruise control settings. On this right side are all of those dials for that gauge cluster, along with Bluetooth controls too. On this left side, there's a massive air vent finished off in more of that gold trim. And underneath that, there's the electronic parking brake. You can open the front storage space along with deploy the tailgate. There's the lane keeping assist. There's a dome light and a power outlet for the bed, along with a dimmer switch. And you can actually put down all 4 windows with the push of a button. It is pretty cool to see that. Now, it doesn't work to put them all back up, so you do have to put all of the windows back up individually, but it is nice to see that button on a nice hot day. You can quickly get them all down. And then you'll notice too, hopefully you can see just behind that ditch light there's a little Hummer logo. Pretty cool to see that little Easter egg right there. There's also a massive dash, a lot of space in the dash too. It's a far ways to that base of the windshield, but it gives you a lot of visibility out of this front area. Now, as we make our way to the infotainment system in the middle, you'll see there's a lot of icons here, very similar to other GMC trucks. You have shortcuts to your camera, even the off-road. So if I click on that, now we can look at more of this information. You can go through your cameras as well, just depending on what you'd like to see. So we might as well pull up the 360 camera system. You can even look at the front wheels, so turning them, you can avoid rocks, anything that you may have in your way. There's a hitch view too, so you have a lot of different angles, just depending on what you need to see. Even the cameras underneath the truck, so you can monitor rocks, anything that you may have underneath the truck, you can quickly see. You can pull that up in a split screen view, even have a bed camera. I love the amount of cameras that you have. This gives you a ton of visibility from the driver's seat where you don't even need additional spotters, so that's pretty cool. There's also altitude. Even driving modes over on that right side will pop up. If I click on this icon here, you can actually air down your tires. So you can set the PSI that you'd like to, you can air them back up. When you're going off-road, very important to have that, especially if you are in some rocky conditions or some slippery conditions, just to get some extra grip. I like that that's incorporated. That is pretty awesome. If we go back to home now, there's the cameras, you have the trailering, even the rear climates that you can adjust. You can scroll over, look at some other these icons, and then even look at Google Maps. You can go into your phone, even look at energy too. So with the map up, you can see that in full screen here. But if I go back to energy and we click on that, this will pull up where you can look at your charging, you can go through your energy usage, you can schedule everything depending on when you're charging it, of course, and then you have some other info to go through. So it's pretty cool to see that. And as you've been able to tell, this left side has been fixed. So all of these are presets. You can quickly get to the trailering. If you have a trailer that you tow a lot, you can have all the info ready to go. You have your phone, even a shortcut to the maps. Now these are configurable, so you can set those up as needed. And on this right side, as you've been able to tell, it's been a split screen. So you can actually scroll through some information and still have everything on that left side. So it's a nice new update, especially for this all new fully electric Hummer. Now there is a physical button for power and volume for the radio. And then we have a row of toggles here. What I love about these is all of these are multifunctional. So currently you can see that the driver heated seat is on. If I push on this, now the two toggles to the right of that can control the heated or the ventilated seat for the heated seat just by pushing on that one dial. It's the same with everything else. You have where you'd like the air to go. Simply just by clicking on all of these, you can quickly control that. If you push on that same one that you started with, it will disappear. Now fan speed is right in the middle. That is fixed for just the fan speed. And then there's some other auto and recircs on that right side. You also have the temperature dials, which are pretty massive for the driver and the passenger. So it is a nice setup. Underneath that, there's the heated steering wheel. This has a rear locker. You can lock both the front and the rear at the same time. There's the hazards, traction control. You can turn on and off the parking sensors. And then this also has the parallel parking feature. So by pushing on that, you can see that adjust where you have different sides of the vehicle, of course, depending on what spot you're looking for. So that can be helpful, especially for the size. Now underneath that, there are two air vents. There's also a wireless charging pad along with some auxiliaries, so you can charge electronics and fit a good amount of items there. On this right side, if I open this up, there are two cup holders, of course. And then for the shifter, with my foot on the brake, the release is on this left side. Going into reverse, you will see the backup camera up here, as I've already shown that. You can go down into drive. There's also a low range gear, and then park is on that right side. Now behind that, there's a rotary dial where you can go through a lot more info. So if I push on the top button there, that is actually how you can raise this vehicle. So you'll see the ride height adjust on the gauge cluster, where you have a few different settings. You have extract, which is the highest setting. There's increased, normal, and then the entry and exit. So you'll see from the outside here just how much ground clearance you can get out of this Hummer. Pretty cool to see that. Now if we go back to the center icon, if I push this dial over on the right side, that is for your mode, your mission. It will pull up with an email address. So you can email GMC with any questions or concerns. The one on the left side will actually turn on and off the rear wheel steering. So you can have it on, auto, or off, which is pretty awesome with the size of this vehicle. Being able to have that is a must. And then if I twist on this rotary dial, we can go through all of the different driving modes. There's my mode, there's off-road. You will see the diagram change, which is pretty awesome to see. There's terrain, the tow and haul. We are back to normal, and then my mode. Look at how quick this system reacts just by turning the dial. It's pretty cool to see that, pulling a rocket ship there. So you have a lot of different modes depending on how you're going to drive this. And then the last mode to initiate is crab walk. So I'm going to hold on this left side for about 6 seconds. You will see that come to life on the center infotainment system. And you can see right now, driving through this grass, crab walk is pretty cool because it allows you to go at different angles, especially with the size of this vehicle. It makes it that much more maneuverable, along with having that rear wheel steering to make some tight turns. Now behind that, there's a storage spot right in the middle of the armrest, perfect for your phone or other items. If I open up the entire armrest, there is a lot of space. Like I said, this is a wide truck, very large. So you have a lot of space in that center armrest. If I reach all the way over, I can open up the glove box where you have a lot more space. More of that gold trim with the Edition 1 badge just above that. And this even has a lot more storage space underneath all of those controls where you can see that area where you could place some other items as needed. And we'll take another look at this interior. Beautiful, beautiful leather. And like I mentioned earlier, with the full panoramic roof, I'll call it, we have these panels that you can easily remove. So there's a latch on this side, and you have one on the back side, and then two over on the driver panels, and you can remove those and have that top-down experience. Now you'll also notice too, we have that digital camera in the rear view mirror. So currently this is the rear view angle and visibility that you have. When I flip this up, now you can actually see. Now from here, you can actually see it's not the brightest day outside, so the camera might not pick it up from the rear view mirror, but you do have a good amount of visibility, especially for the normal mirror, but it's always nice to have that digital screen. And then there's some call buttons up top as well, including the dome lights. As we set off now in the all-new Hummer EV, this has a starting MSRP of $110,000. But what I have found since the Hummer has come out is they're only making around 75 per year, and these are going for almost double their MSRP. So we're talking around the $200,000 mark, which is crazy to see, but with the limited supply and the demand for the all-new Hummer, that's what the market is doing right now. But the base MSRP is just over $100,000, and I could see that price being justifiable for this pickup truck. We have a fully electric pickup truck, but we also have a ton of technology, and putting a few miles on this so far, this is a pretty cool truck. Now this is massive. I drive a Toyota Tacoma, which in comparison is really not that big, especially with this. But the thing about the all-new Hummer is with 1,000 horsepower and over 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Wow. And as we merge into traffic, we are up to speed just like that. You can feel the whole truck kind of move forwards and backs a little bit. We have that adaptive suspension in a sense with the being able to raise and lower it. So it provides us with a super comfortable ride, but you can feel it when you accelerate. And doing a turn like that with the rear wheel steering, which I currently have on at the moment, that is pretty awesome. It makes for tighter situations like you saw those earlier clips, even with the crab walk feature, which you wouldn't do while you're driving. But features like that, I can see where the price is justifiable. Now, the Hummer is mainly a GMC. It is now a GMC Hummer, so it has a lot of GM features that we've all seen. The large screen here, some of these toggles are very similar, but a lot of the features and some of the tech is GMC, of course, just put into a all-new exterior shell in a sense, having Hummer come back. So I believe Hummer was discontinued right around 2010. So we haven't seen Hummer for well over a decade. And the fact that it's brought back as a fully electric pickup truck, you may or may not disagree with how GMC decided to do that, having a fully electric Hummer. But this is pretty cool. I've been in a few other fully electric trucks like the Rivian. I've been in the F-150 Lightning, and I gotta say that this is pretty cool. This is probably my top pick. I've been in a lot of the GMC trucks. They are so comfortable to drive, and I love what they have to offer. And the Hummer is really no different. We even get something that no other pickup truck has, is the 4 panels to come off the top, and they are also transparent as well. Now, looking up at them, I can tell they have a blue tint to them compared to the rest of the windows, so I'm sure there's some kind of sun blockage to where it's not going to beat down on you and be hot all the time, because that's the only option you get for the roof. And with a quick acceleration behind the wheel of the Hummer EV, it's still crazy to me to have an acceleration like that and to hear pretty much no noise. You don't hear any of the batteries. There's no engine, of course, so there's no exhaust note. It provides you with a nice, comfortable ride, obviously being fully electric, but there's really no wind noise or road noise. It is a comfortable 6-figure truck to drive. And that's crazy to see. For the price tag, this might be seeing more pavement than it does off-road situations. But personally, if I bought the Hummer, I would want to take this off-road and really see what its capabilities, at least for the dirt, are, because so far this is very practical. It's very capable for on-road situations. We even have a pretty good range for a 9,600 pound truck going over 300 miles on a charge. That is pretty impressive to see, at least for me. I'm not around a whole lot of electric vehicles, but I think that is still pretty decent for this truck, and it honestly does not feel like it weighs as much as it does. The brakes do a good job. It gets up to speed very quickly. We can merge into traffic just like we are about to do right now. Visibility is very easy to see, and it's just a nice place to be. So if you're someone who wants an electric pickup truck, the GMC Hummer is a cool option to go with. I love this interior. So for over $100,000, they're selling used for over $200,000. It's something, if you want it and it's available, you have to jump on it, because they're not making that many from year to year, and they're in limited supply. So with that, the demand for them can justify the price. You know, that's the way that the market is going. That's what they're going to go for. I don't know if I would spend that much for a Hummer, but I think that this is cool for someone who wants it and is going to enjoy this fully electric pickup truck. And I think that is going to wrap up my time behind the wheel with the all-new GMC Hummer EV. Once again, huge shout out to Randy Marion, Buick GMC, for providing this fully electric, all-new pickup truck for me today. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.